we stop writing. Now we write consistently for some time and we stop. Now there's so many reasons why we stop. Sometimes it could be the loss of a loved one, that writing was something we shared with them. It was something that they gave us feedback on. They talked to us about. That even writing itself breaks our will and makes us remember them, and we cry, and we just can't continue doing that. Sometimes we stop because life just gets really busy, and I mean really busy. First, it was a time you had time to yourself. Now, you sleep while you're in the bus, and you're walking, you sleep walking, and your days filled with you moving from work to work, from work to work, and work to work. Now you just close your eyes and sleep takes control of you, and then 1 hour, it's like time, it's like break time, it's like you have 1 hour for break time. You just, when it's that time, you just sit, and you've so much deprived yourself of so much sleep that you don't call sleep to come. You already sleeping even before it's the time. And once it's the time, you don't say, "Whoa, I feel there's certain sign, certain amount of sleep that's in my system. I need to sleep it out." Is it sleep it out or sleep it in or sleep it? I don't know. But you just feel that, look, my eyes are heavy. I've not gotten enough sleep. I need to relax. I wake up in the next 2 3 hours. Let me satisfy my body with enough sleep. No, you don't have that luxury. And why for others, you just wrote and you wrote and you wrote and you wrote and you wrote, and as you wrote, your stuff did not just make sense. It did not improve. It did not seem like you improved. You did not improve, at least that's what you said. So we stop because we realize that isn't it better that we do not waste our time than we do waste our time doing something that we know or we think will amount to nothing. So we stop. And even though we stop, we are not free. Free in the sense that we cannot let go of it. We cannot move on. Every time we think about it, every time we look around, we see a book, we think about it, we are reminded of what we could have been doing. Our stories haunt us. We hear people talk, we hear people smile, and we look behind that smile is the story of a man, of a woman, of a boy, of a girl. And we could have been telling that story. We just we just know that we could have been telling the story, but we don't. We're not telling the story because we stopped writing. For others, it's, oh, I write when I feel like, and right now I'm not inspired to write. And so it makes us start asking ourselves, how can we address each one of them? Because we know that it's not good that we are not writing. And this, even though it's not every day, we should be writing consistently. We should be in tune with the work, touching it, freshing it, brushing it, capturing our stories, rewriting and writing, moving in words and imaginations, floating in words, using words as a foil. Whatever way what you call writing, dancing, listening to the muse, traveling horizons, whatever it is, capturing the axis of the sky, whatever it is. We know that we're not doing it, and since we're not doing it, we know that it's not good. Now, I would not say not good in the sense that it's not good. Okay, I'm confusing myself right now, but so I'll break it down. When we say good and bad, oftentimes we think of morality. Sometimes something doing something might not be good, but it doesn't mean that it's a thing of good and bad, evil and um, um, evil and what's the other word of evil? Kind. No, no, it's not kind. What's the what's the antonym of evil? Like that really fights into this context of evil. Uh, what would that be? Yeah, kind. Okay, I'll go kind. I just don't know what what the antonym of evil would be right now. I can't look at my phone right now because right if this place the recording will stop. Okay, so we know what must we do to come back to writing. For most of us, let's be honest, we've tried writing. I tried writing again after we stopped for a long time. But it's not like we did not write. What we came up with is not exactly what we wanted. So we decided to just relax. It's called the all or nothing approach. Simply, if I cannot write well, I better not write. If I do not have it in me again, I just relax. I give an example. I say that I want to write, and I write when I feel inspired. So I try to write, but I don't feel the inspiration. Now I do write stuff, but it's rubbish. Now who said it's rubbish? I said it's rubbish. I was the one who said it was rubbish. Okay? So I don't write. Now it's not like something did not come up. Something came up. But I wrote and it wasn't exactly what I would call writing. It's not exactly what I would share and say I wrote. It's not exactly what I would put my name on because the work it's mm, 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 mm. I wouldn't read that work if it wasn't mine. Okay? So we've gotten that point. The problem now is not that we're not inspired, the problem is that we do not write something good enough. Maybe if we were to show up all the time, we'd feel inspired. It reminds me of the quote of Jody Picoult, and it says, "You can never, 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 ever, ever, ever." Okay, she didn't actually say never, ever, 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 ever. It's just okay. I'll say what she said, and I'll say my own version of what she said. She said, "You can never edit a blank page." So my own version is that you can never, 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 ever, 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 never, ever, ever edit a blank page. Yeah, like it's impossible. You can't edit stuff that's not there. But if your work is bad, let's say you write bad poetry. You're like the star um the your face is as white as snow and your love is as red as rose. Let's say that's the poem you wrote. It's bad poetry, obviously. Why you might be asking? Because it's cliche. Everything there, the comparison you use there is cliche. There's nothing fresh. There's nothing new about this stuff. I'm like, they are good God. Spare me this cliche. If that was what you wrote, we could work on that. We could edit it into something sweet, something clean, something wonderful. But if you do not have anything, we cannot. We then only have to start from scratch, which is not editing. So I have had this. Uh, the first thing I said was we need to write so that we can edit, and oftentimes we wait for inspiration, which is not so good. The other thing I said is that there is the closeness, there is the time bias. I'll call it that, the time bias. So what exactly is the time bias? The time bias is I am a writer. I've written a work. And what did I even write? I wrote a poem. I'm writing. I just said, okay, let's write something today. And I write something. It looks boring. It sounds terrible. I don't even believe that I wrote this stuff. huh? Like, dude, like this stuff is it makes me want to vomit. It's repulsive. Oh, I don't even know what that means, but I look at the work. But I give myself time. I write, I just write and I forget about the work. It's kept in one place, just to see it. And a month later, 2 months later, 3 months later, I look at the work and I'm like, it's the very moment where an explorer looks at, did I say explorer? A miner, or whoever is in charge of processing um, raw minerals. They look at the stone or whatever in its raw form, and they're like, "Wow, this is gold. This is silver." And with some processing, we could, you know, bring out the beauty out of it. Now, at first, when I wrote that stuff, it was no, 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 no. This was something. No, 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 no. It was really really bad, and I felt like tearing a piece of paper and throwing it away. But I left it. Yeah, I left it for two reasons. Well, first reason is I wanted to map my growth, so see that over time this was how I improved. Second reason was that I knew that I was aware of the time bias. I was aware of it. I was the subjective bias. I was aware of it. That if I look at the work right now, it's not gonna look interesting. It's not gonna look amazing. And same thing goes for both sides. Sometimes the work might look so amazing, and over time, when you look back at it, you're like, wow, how come I thought that line was great? Oh, it's like you've learned so much that stuff you spent so much distance away from the work that you can now see the work objectively. Yeah, that's your idea behind that stuff. So writing consistently and coming over time, you can edit the work, you can work and put the stuff there. Now, what if writing what could not be good or could not be bad? Like, what do you mean? Because what's happening right now is that we're so obsessed over how good is the work, how bad is the work, oh, the work is terrible, oh, the work is bad, oh, the work is this. What if we just wrote? What if writing itself, writing, sitting down and writing something was the goal? Then you would have succeeded every day you write, and the day you did not write would have been a day that you failed, which would be something really easy to do. It's just to show up and write words. You're like, yeah, yeah, I do know how to write. Yeah, it's not like that. That's the problem. Okay, okay, okay. Okay, so what then is the problem? It's just that I don't have good enough ideas. Okay, let's see what we have there. So you don't have good enough ideas, and even though I know that ideas are not really a problem, most of the time it's just technique of telling. So what we could do is, oh, you say, oh, but I want to sit to write and I don't really have something that delights me. Well, how about we start with keeping a journal? It's very easy. There's no creative uh, demand, okay, from keeping a journal. So what you do is, at the end of the day, you sit down, you write what happened for the day. Oh, the man talked to me. Oh, I didn't even go anywhere. I sat down, I stared at the ceiling, and I felt that the ceiling was staring at me too. Ah, when I was hungry, the the the, rub- the drums were singing, or they were deep, and you just write. You don't necessarily write that they were deep, they were this. You write in a way that it captures the day. So no matter when you look at the writing, you remember everything. Now later on, you take up those writings and make a story out of it. Now it could be non-fiction, it could be fiction too. But usually writing. Oftentimes when I write, I'm always happy that I write. And I find out that why I'm so scared of not writing and not showing up is because I feel that my work is not good enough. And which is cool, which is true because my work is not good enough. It's not like I feel my work is not good enough. But I write and I just love and I'm like, wow, I wrote this stuff. Wow, even though it's the last line, only the last line is beautiful. Like, yeah, oh, I wrote the stuff. Yeah, makes me feel good about myself. Yeah, and it's a place where I can I can I can create. Um, what word will I use now? I can make things without boundaries. In the real world, for example, certain things are happening, certain things are not said. In writing, I can say those things. I can talk about so many things. I can do anything. I have a plain canvas before me and I have words to paint whatever I want to paint, which is incredible for me and really mind blowing. Yeah, really mind blowing. So, what I would say is find what works for you. Start with capturing, just capturing the day, journaling. Oh, this will happen, oh, this is oh, version 2. And then you can move on to better things and start writing letter to your past self, to your future self. It could be weekly. Every week you write a letter to your future self, and then later on you go and read the letter. And there are websites like that where you can do write a letter to future me and stuff like that. You do it, and it will send you the letter at the date, the specified date in the future, which will be the present. But when we do remove the idea of work not being good enough, when we make it less about the product and more about the process, what happens is that we there's less pressure. We are allowed to enjoy the process. We're allowed to enjoy the moment, which is good and great for us because it's only in doing that we can improve. Principles are taught, feedback is given. But how can you apply feedback? How can you apply principles taught in executing, in writing? See, when you start writing, you start texting, experimenting, doing things, you you start seeing feedback and the things start making sense. You start reading books and stuff starts making sense and sticky. Now, it doesn't mean that before then you're not listening or attentive. What it simply meant was that you your brain could not make use of any of the stuff. Like you're like, oh, in the storyline, you can start by starting where the bear actually eats, almost eats the man. That's where the story should start. I think Kurt Vonnegut, one of his recommendations for how to start a story. But it doesn't really make any sense. Yeah, it makes sense that yeah, beer eats their stuff like that. But when you start writing and you start reading, you you're like, whoa, so I should start. Wow, wow. Then you can say, okay, how about instead of saying this and saying this, how about I tell from the very beginning that this man is going to die? And then you're like, how can I get this writer to stay in line? And I know most people talk about writing is such a powerful thing, though. I'm deviating a bit, but it's such a powerful thing. Just starting, you can, it doesn't really matter the form of writing you write. You can always find ideas from your own personal life. Now, most of us say our life is boring. I really don't do anything interesting. Are you really sure? And sometimes we do not see ideas because we are not looking for them. When we start looking for them, when we open our eyes to see them, we begin to see this ordinary. It begins to delight us. Like, wow, I never knew that. I never knew. Like, wow. That's exactly what we're talking about when we see the delight of these ideas, when we pay attention to them, when we uh, open our mind, we like, how can I not? I do not have any ideas, but how can I have ideas? We see ideas. Now, there are various techniques you could use to continue, start. You could start very small, write 5 minutes every day, and just enjoy the process. Just write for yourself. and then later on you can start moving on to projects. But just enjoying the process. And for me, that's what I'm trying to do. Just writing and enjoying the process, testing and moving boundaries to boundaries, like just doing things. So, hello guys. Did I say hello guys? I would love it if wherever you are now, you can follow or subscribe or rate the podcast in whatever platform you're listening to. It helps me to get in front of more persons, and if you can share the podcast if it was of value to you, I would greatly appreciate that. And please, if you'd love to ask a question, go to buildwriting.com/speak, and I'll be able to take your audio question. You can also ask a test question, whatever format you like and prefer. But if you love your voice to be heard in this podcast, ask me a question on buildwriting.com/speak, and I'll see you in the next episode. Keep writing.